That way we have plenty of times because what I did is I added a little bit extra so that it wasn't, so I was like, okay, this is going to be hard to get it in, and we're having team pictures and we're having our Christmas party this afternoon too. So I'm like, girl, we got so much stuff packed into one day. I tell you, well, I feel like I know most of you in the room. Since it's small, do y'all care if we go around and say your name, or does everybody know everybody except for me? Well, since you're the only dude in the room besides Wesley, we'll start with you, sir.
I'm Trent.
Trent. Well, nice to meet you, Trent. Megan. Yes, that's been a long time ago, hadn't it been? And you always have the cute bob. I love your hair. I've thought about cutting mine back to a bob. I used to be there. Penny. Yeah, you've been here. Everybody knows. Awesome. Wow, 10 years. 11. I can't add. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here.
But you do it because here you are over 10 years.
That's right, girl.
Carol West. I still say I'm new. Been here about 2 years, but still learning and growing.
I love it. You always show up. That's the thing is, like, you guys are the hustlers because you're the ones who keep showing up.
I'm Sandra Wiggins, and I started in February of 2014.
Oh, wow.
And I've been around the block. You were saying, some of y'all were talking about being blessed. They started out with KW. I feel like I was blessed because I got to see other offices, how they're run, and I felt blessed once I came here.
Appreciate.
This is where you need to land, yeah. Especially just coming, you just passed your test, you made a good decision, you come to a very good office. I'm just saying.
Learners are earners, and this place likes to learn. 1,000%.
I'm Lottie, and I'm at like 3.5 years.
Awesome.
I'm Shelly. I'm Brandy. I just started Monday.
Yay! Welcome, Shelly.
Toya O'Neill, and I've been here 4 years, and I'm here because Brandy called me.
Yeah, said you need to be here.
So I came here. I've been here ever since. I love it. I look around and I don't see people I joined with, but I'm still here to do what I want to do.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, and we'll let Brandy go next. We're just doing a quick little meet and greet since we were new, since we were running a little bit ahead. So we'll let you just say.
I'm Brandy Black, and I've been licensed for 3 years, and I've been in real estate for almost 8. I did my whole world backwards.
Yes. No, but in a good way.
I will say it was a good way.
Yeah.
It was a good way. So I just got into, I was a team leader, I was assistant team leader, I was a productivity coach here, and then I just got into production in June, and I also work for a national coaching company, and I also own the leverage company, Elevate 360, out of this office.
Brandy's busy all the time, so and always killing it. Lisa, the other two that walked in, Lisa, the two Lisas.
I'm Lisa Morgan. I am one of the listing specialists on the Premier Group team. I've been on that team since I got my license almost 21 years ago.
Wow.
Awesome.
Weird. Very weird.
You're not weird. You're an angel from above. And then the other Lisa.
I'm Lisa. I'm Pratt. I've been working with Penny since 2017.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. So today, I said I kind of mixed a little bit of two things. I have plenty of printouts for you guys that I'm going to give you at the end of the class. So don't worry, everything that I'm going to say you can take home with you. But it's, I wanted to kind of give a freebie because how many people here actively have a listing? Okay, so I wanted this class to be for everybody, people who were trying to get a listing, because is that what we're all trying to do? And then those of us who already have them. If that's with your permission, I've added a little bit of extra. So it's called Lovin on your database, and keeping those listings coming, y'all, because listings are what keep us living, right? And so some of the things that, your database is like, it's everything. And the new people, one of the things I was going to say, the question that they texted that I was going to answer, I thought, was, what's the one piece of advice that you would give yourself as a new agent? And I would say never think your database is too small to matter, and to really put the time and energy up front, right? Well, before you get busy. Because if you do the right thing, even if there's only 5 people in it, you're going to do the right thing that's building you for, the build with the end in mind, right? So anyway, that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. I deleted a bunch of my little stuff, but I couldn't delete pictures of my family. So this is my why. You will see my 2 beautiful boys. One is 21 and about to get married in November next year. And then my cute little redhead, our little miracle baby. And then my husband, Kevin, we've been married for 25 years. And then these are some clients who were some of my first clients, and they're still doing business with me this year. So, someone who's been in my corner for almost 20 years, they're on my why page too, because I've got several. I've been blessed to have clients from that have sold 10 plus properties through the years from, and they're residential. I have some investors that I work with too, but I love the people. So that's why I'm here. And that's what my database is to me, is my people. So I know a lot of the stuff I'm going to tell you is nothing new. I'm sorry. It's all stuff you've all heard, but hopefully it's going to be something that will inspire you, because listings are like the lifeblood of the business. Would you guys all agree with that? Okay, so why would you want a listing? That's right, it brings you buyers too. So whether you're looking to get buyers or listings, you can leverage those listings to help you get more business. And that's what I really love, because I love girl math. Anybody here love girl math? I know you dudes don't. Y'all are like, quit talking. Look, Robert, Johnny Cash over there, he's going to love some girl math today.
I like girl math, that's fine.
Yeah, he's like, any kind of math you got. But girl math to me is, that's right, leveraging the kind of business you already have to make it grow, right? And so that's kind of like watering your database. So we're going to talk a little bit about focus and consistency and time blocking, which really is the 12-week marketing plan, because that's the thing. If you can teach yourself to time block, then when my youngest son was born, I said, you know what? I actually said, I'm not going back. He's our miracle. I'm not going to keep doing this. And my husband's like, well, really, you need to have a job. So we love our miracle, but you're going to have to figure out how to keep it going. So part of what I said was, okay, fine, I'll work 3 days a week. And I did that until he went to kindergarten. So it can be done. And at that time, we were running, a pretty big business of about 200 transactions a year. And I said, okay, we'll have an office and everybody can come to my basement. So I was blessed that my team was willing to come to my basement and let me be a mom, and I'd be upstairs and they'd be downstairs, and we'd switch off. And basically that's what I've done my whole career, is just make it work around my family and my wife. So your standard is what you're willing to settle for. So we're going to talk about, what is your standard, right? And there can be a standard. Does anybody here listen to James Shaw? Okay, yeah. He talks about it all the time, and it's so true, because our standard is what we're willing. It can be on the personal side. It can be on the business side. But today specifically, I'm going to talk about your standard around listings, right? How many listings do you need to have in order to sell the number of houses that you want to live the life that you want to live, right? Because that's the thing, is if we can, who got into real estate from like something corporate? And you're like, I'm tired of the man telling me what to do. Anybody? Just me? I was like, I don't want to wake up every day and drive and drop my baby off. And yeah, so that's how I ended up here. I was a good employee, and then they would want me to work overtime, and I had a newborn baby who's now 21, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So your standard is what you're willing to settle for to get the outcome you want. And what I have found is that if you're willing to commit to like yourself, and your dedication and drive, you can be anywhere. Like Gary Keller says, you can be anywhere you want to in 5 years. And when he said that, the first time I ever heard him speak, I really was like, that's hogwash. And then I watched people, and I was like, actually, he's not wrong. Because I saw these people who were brand new out of the gate come in with clarity and purpose and dedication and blow right past where I was. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? And it's because I lacked the clarity and the purpose a lot of my career. So what I'm hoping is that you guys will not lack that for 20 years like I did. And you will commit to yourself and get where you want to go much faster than me. So number one, building your database one strategy at a time. So we're going to talk about who has a database here. I know there's some people who've been in the business, the old dogs with me. We've been in here a long time. And then so those of you who don't have a database or who would like their database to grow, I might say. Okay. So we're going to talk to both sides of those because your database, I'm going to use a stool analogy about what supports your business, right? So if you think about your business as a stool, and y'all, I went to Pickens County school system, so this is why I'm being basic, okay? It's how my brain works, okay? So the stool analogy is what supports your business. And, you know, sometimes there's a stool where you can see just one leg. Would you guys agree with that? Everybody's seen and that can work, but what I have found is like diversity through the years. The more diverse your business is, the better it is, okay? So, but if you have too many legs on a stool, then it's kind of, you know, it's not going to work either, right? So for me, I know that hey there, welcome. No, you're good. We're just getting started. So the legs of my business that have helped me grow have changed through the years. Would anybody else, has your stools or your business changed and evolved, as we call it? So when I started out, I did all for sale by owners and expired listings. And the reason why is I didn't have a database. And so I was trying to meet those people to put in my database. So I was really hard on for sale by owners and expired listings. And we didn't do a lot of open houses back then because, do you guys remember the Craigslist killer? Okay. Well, and then the sad, terrible young girls who got killed at an open house. So my dad was ex-Navy, and he was like, there is no way under the sun my daughter is going to sit at a house for people to come and kill you, because all these things were happening on the news. So open houses back then were just something that, even though I was married and 22 years old, my dad was still going to tell me no, and I was going to listen. So open houses were not a strategy I ran. Nowadays, my strategies are more my database, which we're going to talk about, you know, because that's a big spectrum. What does your database mean? How does your database feed you, right? And it's kind of like a garden. The more that you water it and take care of it and work in it, it's going to feed you every day. So that's kind of, you know, so my now strategies are open houses. We do a lot of those. And then Google and social media. So those are kind of our legs of support. Now this year, one of my legs is new, so it's going to be referral partnerships with other agents. So we're kind of in a growth avenue for some of that. So I'm going to be in the same position. So in this, you know, in the sense, what I would tell you, number one, write down, if you don't know, your 3 to 4 areas that you want to support your business. And if you already know that, does anyone here know, because you've already done your business plan for 2026? Oh, I knew you would. No, I love it. I love it. Hey, listen, you too. Hey, and that's awesome, because, and that's okay if you haven't, because I know what we want to do, but we haven't had our end of the year meeting or kickoff yet as a team. But you know, if you don't know, I'm going to spend just a minute or two and let you think about that, whether you want to write it down or just put it in your brain. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, and so does anybody have any areas that you might want to focus on that are not on the board? Any other strategies? I love a good mastermind.
I actually was thinking about doing a newsletter.
I love that. And so a newsletter to a neighborhood or a newsletter to
My database.
your database?
Because there's a lot of folks that I
I love that. And we are going to talk about that as kind of like our touch plan to our database, okay? But I mean, can we just give you do we all wish we were that 3 days in and knew that we wanted a newsletter to our database? I did not, because 3 days in, I was actually still in the hospital from real estate because I showed my first house and a tree fell. And I was never athletic. I know y'all are all shocked. I was the school mascot and not an athlete. But so yeah, 3 days in, I was still recovering. 8 weeks in, I was still recovering from surgery. Yeah, and I'm still here. So if I can survive, all of you can do it. I promise. So, but kudos to you for having a strategy. So I would call that as your database strategy. Anybody else have another idea for something you may want to do this year? Okay, so everybody's going to pick these categories-ish. I know, my husband did tell me to go back to the bank. I only got robbed there once. So I have bad luck, but you know what? I just take it and turn it into something good. I do have stories. Okay, so open house. If that's our first strategy we're going to talk about, who would want to write a piece of business today? Everybody? Me too. And close by the end of the year. Supreme said they can get us in 8 days, okay? So there's 3 ways that I have found that you could go somewhere today purposefully and get a piece of business that might turn into a transaction today. Does anyone know what those 3 are? I know you know. No, do it. Honey, no, this is all interactive. This is not I told you I was the cool substitute. This is not your regular class.
So where would you get it?
Yeah, where would you get a piece of business today? Very good. Anybody else have a guess?
Expired.
Very good. Anybody else have a guess?
I'm gonna guess you're gonna say an open house.
Open house. All of those 3 ways could produce you a transaction today. Those are the areas that I have found that give you the most immediate business. So here's the deal. If you do not have an appointment, your job is to prospect, right? That's how, because we're unemployed every day that we wake up if we don't have something that we've got an appointment. So the 3 ways to go find an appointment the quickest are open house, for sale by owner, and expired. So if we were going to do an open house per se, it's not just about putting a sign in the yard and opening the house, right? It's all in the prep work. It's what you're going to do. And so I kind of broke this down. What are you going to do 7 to 10 days out with creating a post? Now listen, have I had success from having them the same day or the next day? Yes. So I would encourage you, don't get caught up in making it perfect, because it's better to do it wrong than to not do it at all in any of this kind of business, okay? So update the MLS, prepare binders and material, cook food like Brandy does. She makes the coolest little pop bags. I'm going to come to one of yours just to steal some of your swag. And mailing letters, so which would fall under prospecting and farming, okay? So the kind of letters that I generally mail are something called a seller letter. Has anyone ever heard of the seller letter? And it's where, and I've got some examples in here. I think our next little one may be. But it's positioned from the seller. And the reason I do this is because we want the neighborhood to know that we're going to think outside the box to try to get new listings, right? Because my goal at an open house is not just to get a buyer, but to leverage to get more listings. And that's probably everyone's goal here, right? So the seller letter, and there's about 25 or 30 different variations that we use. This is one of them, and it's very simple, but it's coming from the sellers. We actually write it for them. We put their name. The more information they're willing to let us put in there, the better. So this one's very, very generic. We get their permission, yes. So we say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and we do that at the listing appointment. We're like, we want to not just have an open house for you. We want to have it blow it out of the water open house, where we're going to invite all of your neighborhood, all of the neighborhood next door if you want to. You know, this depends on your strategy. And it's coming from you because, A, more people open it if it has your return label on it, right? Because they don't think it's spam mail. So we print the labels. We used to handwrite them, and then we're like, nah, let's just try to do labels. And that has worked fine. But it just thanks them, you know, Most of the time it's like, hi, this is Gary and Alice, your neighbors with the golden retriever. You've probably seen us walking past your house on our evening strolls. We've loved living here and raising all our kids, and it's time for us to start a new chapter. So we've listed our home with the Maria Sims Group, and they're going to be hosting an open house, whatever the date is, between 1 and 3. We're going to do a neighbor exclusive only between 12 and 1. So you can come, or anyone that you know that you might want to be your neighbor can come to the open house. And then, and we sign it, their names, Gary and Alice. So this is a very generic one because some sellers don't want personal information. Most of our sellers allow us to put a couple pieces of personal information because it makes people feel a little more vested. And then we have people coming to the open house with the letter saying, it says I can get in an hour early. We're like, well, come on, So that has been one of the best strategies. And we've gotten lots of other listing opportunities from doing this letter specifically. So really, it's just out-of-the-box thinking. I went to a training out in Austin, and there was a variation of something like this, and then I kind of tweaked it to be what I thought it might work for me. So I would tell you, tweak it all that you want. If you guys want the process to pulling information to send these letters, let me know. I can send you our little breakdown that I give my admin. So they know how to pull the addresses, they know how to print the labels, and we actually type this letter in Canva, and then we print it out. So it's super easy. We do the whole, it's whatever your budget allows. So here's the thing, preparation helps save you money and time. So like if you do the whole neighborhood, you can do bulk mailing if you're a member of it. And so we can mail, it's cheaper to mail 250 letters sometimes than it is to only mail 100 because you have to have a certain number. So, do what, honey?
The timeline. So how far out are you finding that you have to mail it in order for them to receive it?
So 7 to 10 days. Yeah, and that was on this little thing. Yeah, so set the date, 7 to 10 days.
Mailing, do you do like your neighbor and their address? Like how do you, or are you pulling an actual name?
We pull the actual name and the address. So we can merge it from, the public records. And there's a lot of different services. We use Free 99, which is us. It's a little more legwork, which is in the MLS under Realist. So you can pull the neighborhood, and then it'll give you their name and address, and then you just copy it and put it into a spreadsheet and sort it. And I would be lying if I actually said I knew how to do it, but my assistant is happy to teach you if you need to. No, I know, you want her. Honey, I'm just the idea person. I don't actually know how to do anything, just for the record. But she will gladly walk you through how to mail merge those and print the labels.
Well, and I ask that because there are certain neighborhoods, that I just had listings in, that were heavy rentals. So the people that are not owners, like you're mailing to an owner, but that's not who's living there.
Yeah.
And so I had just put a generic, neighbor, like something.
You could definitely do that, or your strategy might be, hey, we know these are all rentals, so the type of letter I'm going to send is to, are you sick of, renting and paying your landlord's mortgage, right? So like immediately, anything you can do that's different than what someone else does, send it. I sent one time, and I deleted it out, but I'm sure Wesley could find it. It was in the middle of God's country up where I live, and it was this huge, ginormous shop and a trailer, and I'm like, gosh, it's got to be a car collector or someone with equipment. So I literally wrote the letter, and my assistant said, you don't want me to write this. And I'm like, I do. I want you to put it in there, and we're going to mail it. Don't overthink it. Just send it. But it was tailored towards someone who I thought were car collectors. Or do you have heavy equipment and too many toys? Like, are you a guy, blah, blah, blah. So it was tailored to a gentleman. Well, guess what? The person who bought it came from that letter. And they all thought I was crazy. I said, send it anyway. So I would say if you think it's a neighborhood that has rentals, maybe your strategy's a little bit different. Does that make sense?
I wasn't thinking so much the letter per se as the addressing it to.
You could do, so here's the thing. We find more people are going to open it probably if it has their name on it.
But
That's
do they not open it
Or maybe you just put the address and no neighbor. You know what I mean? So it's the address of, and maybe those situations are a handwritten on a colorful envelope. Like some people get real into, we keep it pretty basic and simple, but that is a good thought. I just mail it wrong and
I want to say that when we just did ours a couple months ago, and I could tell a lot of them were rentals because it would say LLC.
yes,
And if you just, like she said, if you
put
would
the
just take
address.
that, like when you print 300 of them, and just look for the 30 that are the LLC, and maybe only address those as like to the current resident or whatever. To the
That's a great idea. And she
would
does
at least
that.
give you some, and that work wasn't going to be outrageous to try to sort through, because if you have to try to, if you actually check owner records, that would take forever, but I want to say that's what we did.
I think what Madeline does is if it has an LLC, she puts Dear Neighbor and then she handwrites the address. So we never mail anything to an LLC. So, but this is, a personal invite to the open house, and then it's perfect for the word of mouth referral for marketing. And what I will tell you is this letter is not my favorite, the one that's up there. It's the most generic, which is why I put it in there. But the favorite is when they let you tell a story, because people live for experiences and emotional tugs at their heart, right? So it's taking that extra minute or two to really set a tone for your seller. And that's what we tell our sellers. And then our sellers love it. They're like, that's such a great idea. So, then they're sharing that with their friends and helping get us more business, right? So anyway, 3 to 10 days out, it's all about signage, placing on main roads and entrances, door knocking if that's part of your strategy, 30 to 40 neighbors. I think that's great. That's another good way to meet the neighbors. And the reason you wait a few more days is maybe they've gotten their letter by then. And they're like, oh yeah, we got the letter from the neighbor and we're planning on coming. And then the next thing is don't leave off the video, making a quick video. And that's another good way to show the seller, here's things that you're doing, right? You don't want to do all these things in one day, but you can say, hey, do you care, Megan, if I stop by and take a quick video for social media about the open house? And they're always like, that's awesome, because they feel like you're working on it, even if this is in the coming soon process, right? So the more that you can prep yourself in the coming soon to the market, the easier it is to hit those timelines and be able to bulk mail it. In a perfect world, and generally, we know about our listings within a week to 2 weeks before it goes live. Would you guys all agree with that? Okay, so you've got time to do those. Now, sometimes you have sellers like my husband where they're like, I want you to list it tomorrow. Oh. And I'm like, that's really not working because we're going to miss all the steps. But my husband's my worst seller. So anyway, and then also invite other agents to attend. So like if you know that there's a particular agent who's sold like 10 or 15 properties in that neighborhood or several, I would reach out to them and just say, hey, we're going to have a new coming soon, and we're going to be hosting this big open house. And you know what? Your clients are always protected. Please send them if you're not available. If you're at a ball game on Saturday, send your buyers. You're always protected, and we'll show them the house for you because we're going to be there anyway. So, and then they may say no. It just sparks conversation because in this market where things are a little bit tougher, it's these little touches that really make a difference, right? Like it's the going the little extra mile and talking to other agents too is part of it because
When you get a listing, do you have a system or a routine where you go live on a certain day and then right out of the gate, the first weekend after you go live is that open house?
Yes. Yes, and we don't normally do Sundays, and I'm going to show you all of that. So you're going to get all of that in just a few minutes. That's a very good question. I mean, I don't really, as far as the day of the week, I think, hey, we sell houses every day. So, but I know a lot of people like to list them on Thursday, and then, then they are ready for the, yes. That's probably a great strategy. We just don't get too caught up in that kind of thing. But the open house does always come the first week on the market if the seller will let us. And usually they will. And so then, Well, we just talk them into it. Well, we would try to overcome their objections, right? What would be the reason they wouldn't want to have an open house? And because what I usually tell the seller is like, listen, especially if they maybe have small children, because we have one going live this week, and they've literally got 3 little babies under the age of 3. And I told the wife, I said, you know, here's the deal. If you let us host an open house on a Saturday, then we can try to jam all the showings. Like that'll be our showing window too. So we said we'll do 12 to 4. You can go to Grandmama and Papa's, and you know, you don't have to worry about it, and then we're not going to kick you out of the house all day, right? So I think it's just asking the question of why they would be hesitant for that. And then the day before the day before the open house, more social media. Don't forget your flyers, email and text reminders to the agents, and then communicate with any hot leads that match that criteria. And then the day of the open house, bringing balloons. Yes, they're important. We even have the little spinny wheels. Offer food and beverages, or make a whole event platter like Brandy, because hers are awesome. Ensure your car is packed, because how many people, is it just me? I've showed up without anything, and I'm like, I meant to grab that at the office. Anybody else do that? So it's called a flight check. Make sure you got everything for your flight, and then arrive at least 30 minutes ahead of time, because people will come early, right? And so if you're advertising it for 12 o'clock, there are people like my dad who will get there 30 minutes early. So, and then they're going to be like, well, this lady was late. And we're like, no, it's 11:45. It said I was going to be here at 12. Nope, you're late. So make sure you're early. And then, you know, my other strategy, so that was open houses. Anybody?
I just wanted to add 2 things.
Please. Yeah, no.
So I will say that I do provide good snacks, but I will also say that I also I like to create an experience. So I want them to feel like when they come to the open house, like they walk in their home, or like I'm hosting a party, like that they feel really homey there. So that's, and I actually do something super simple, but I have like a go-to thing that I do for every single one. So that is one thing. The other thing that I just added, because I'm new to the listing market, is and I think it's helpful, is I did add like an email to send to the seller the week before, to tell them how to prepare. Because I felt like I was getting a lot of questions of like, well, what does the seller need to do to prepare, right? Because we prepared for photos, but now they're like unsure. So I did a little template to my sellers to say, hey, the open house is scheduled. Here's the things that you can do to prepare. Take the dog, put away your towels, you know, just the little things. And I think that's helped cut down on some questions.
100%. And we have like what we call our dynamic open house. And so we text it to our sellers like 3 to 4 days out. My assistant sends it, and then the day of, woohoo, it's the big day, we're having an open house. And we resend that every week, because some people are like, whoa, I forgot you were having an open house. So it's like their little reminder. And I agree, Brandy, we try to always create it as an event. Right, like the bigger of the event for the open house, because if you're going to use your time, you might as well plan it like an event. So in the summertime, you know, we pull it outside to the driveway, do popsicles, all that kind of stuff. But I love like your mentality around it has been excellent to watch. So, and then you know, one of our legs of our business this year is social media and Google. So you guys may have a different strategy. For me, you know, it's important, especially like I would say Lisa, anybody who runs a team or has an off-site location, this would be really important for you to ask for reviews. You guys should still ask for reviews, and Google is like the best way to ask for reviews. But like community flyers and news events go on our Google page. Community blogs, which is another way we talk to our database, is we write 2 blogs a week. And it's usually one is educational, and then one blog is about something that's happening this week in the community. So here's some links to reviews. And you can just see, like, we always try to go in and respond to every review as well, even, you know, no matter what the reason is. We had one bad review, and I left it because I think it makes us look human. and he was crazy, so you could see that in the text. So whatever, I'm like, oh, they'll read it and they'll be like, okay, that guy seems a little unhinged. But anyway, overall, like, your reviews really do matter. So that would be something as a new agent, or have your vendor, like Robert, you should give us all a review today about how good of agents we are, because you could have vendors do reviews for you. I love it. Look at him. So, when we talk about, my biggest strategy that we do every year is loving our database, right? So, like, creating a marketing plan around what are we going to do? And it can seem, does anybody hear, oh my God, a marketing plan to your database, and it overwhelm you a little bit? I know, and like, let's just be honest, it did me too for a very long time. And what I realized is, you hear people say these things like, you got to touch them 100 times a year, and I'm like, oh, 100 times? What in the world? And the thing is we start out small. So if you only do 12 touches to your database the first year, you're winning, okay? And if it's 12 more than you probably did last year, right? If but you've got to create value and consistency, because, value without consistency is annoying, and then consistency without value is anonymous, basically, right? So you've got to, that's a James Shaw saying. But it's so true. So exactly, because I'm like, this is, one of the best things you can do is to get a plan. And your plan doesn't have to be fancy. You can literally write it on a piece of notebook paper and slap it to the wall and say, this is my plan of what I'm going to do for January. I'm going to send one newsletter, or I'm going to send one market update, and I'm going to make one social media post, right? It doesn't have to be anything huge to start with. But what you'll find is when you start doing it, then it's going to grow, right? So planning with your, and get creative. Marketing Monday is actually a day of the week to me. We sit down every Monday and we do our listing meeting, and it's Marketing Monday. What are we going to do to market these listings that these people have entrusted in us, right? So we make a plan, and that's kind of, we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But it's a plan of what are we going to do to touch them on Tuesday. So by Tuesday, our sellers know that's the day of the week that they're actually going to get the plan of what we're doing for them this week. And then Wow Them Wednesday is usually something that's encouraging or something awesome about their house. It's kind of thinking outside the box. But those are kind of our, our plans. And then the pop buys. Does anybody here do deliveries to their database? So a pop buy would be a gift or something that you take by their house and give to them. So when we started real estate, we would make cookies, and my kids and I would take, or my one son, I only had one then, and my husband and I would take cookies to people's houses. And it would usually be between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And you know what? I touched them once a year because that's all I could do, right? And those clients, my solid first 50 clients are still very good friends of mine. And I think it's because of all the years that they saw us grow, right? And they all wanted to see me win. But they watched my kids grow up. We watched their kids grow up, right? It was just something special. And, it started with cookies and then I realized, wow, about 2.5, 3 years in, I was like, ooh, I can't make the cookies anymore. My mother-in-law then started helping me make the cookies. And then she was like, really, you should just do store-bought. No one cares if I make them. There's too many people. But the plan is just plan it and stick with it. And if it's something once a year, don't get discouraged. Our events each year, we do our Friendsgiving. Our goal is to do one quarterly big event each year. And I'm going to show you this, my 97 touch plan. And I come up, I almost said 100, but you know what? I'm not going to do it because someone told me. I'm going to do it because I feel like I'm ready, and I'm not ready. So, but that is so true. This is how we do our touch plan, though. So you can see there's 12 monthly emails. They get 12 monthly market updates. The market updates are just a snapshot of, I do it by county, and then I do it by city. And then if I have them tagged in my database, like that we know they live in Jasper, then we send them Jasper, right? So you can do just one, and you could do one with both counties on it, or whatever county you serve, right? And then the monthly mini events, those are something that the city of Woodstock, how many people live in Cherokee County? Okay, most people. So all of our cities are doing great stuff each weekend. So maybe you share what Ackworth is doing. Maybe you do what downtown Marietta is doing. Whatever that is, come up with an idea of who you're going to follow and give them a monthly mini invite to an event, right? Both. Both. We email the entire database, but then if we have their phone number, we text them. And only if, like, I know they have kids and I think they would enjoy it, or only if they are SEC fans and the Bulldogs win, right? Yeah, go Dogs. That's where it's like knowing your customer, right? Like, I send different messages to each client based off of who they are, not what's the easiest for me all the time, right? So it's really tagging your database properly is so helpful. And mine is still a hot mess, and or I think it is, but it's better than some. But I always have room for improvement. But the community events, I don't actually go to those events. I just invite them to those events. Now, we do go to some of them. And then the bi-weekly blogs. How many of you are sending the equity analysis? Okay, so this is an easy way for you to do. So it's so easy. You pull an RPR report, and some of you new people are going, what's an RPR report? I will also send you my process for that if anybody's interested in doing it. Now, if you don't want to do all that because it's not your forte, there's also a program called HomeBot, and it's very inexpensive, and it will send a digital report for you. I think it's like $25 a year or something, and you just put their address in, and some lenders will pay for your HomeBot. So I think we have a lender paying for ours, so it doesn't cost us anything, but you can put their address in there, and it'll send that report. So what you could do is just screenshot that and print it and write a little love letter on it and mail it to your client.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I know on command you can add it to your website where they can get a home evaluation. And so it's just like a little, it just says put in your address. But I actually haven't followed it all the way through to see like what the client gets. Has anybody done that? And do they get a home evaluation? What is it that they get?
Instant file CMA.
Oh.
So they get it, but I mean, it's a range,
Right.
My problem is, and we just talked about this yesterday, actually, I haven't been doing like annual equity analysis for everybody, and that's on my list here. I have watched Ronnie videos and all that and everything. I get so bogged down because like each one takes me like 30 minutes because I get it, because I'm like, oh, well, that's not an exact, like, because I think I'm
Overthinking it? Yeah, so 100%. And so we created a Google Drive spreadsheet where every single time we close a property, it goes on that by month. We track everything by month. And so the RPR report, they populate. If you populate it once, it stays there on your Google Drive and updates it every year. I like to do the kind of work you don't have to do again. So then when you click on it, you scroll down to the most important part, which is the last page that has your information and the value range, and you print it. And your love letter says something like, listen, don't we love it when the computer populates a value? I would love to come see you as your trusted friend and expert and give you a real one. Much love, Maria, and send it.
Yeah, because sometimes I've done
There is. Well, and here's the thing. I don't send it if they bought it within the really ever, if it's less than what they bought it for. So we have a little column that says the price, and so that is one of our checks. Like, okay, they paid $350 and it's telling them $365. We're going to send it anyway. If they paid $350 and it tells me $200, I'm not sending that report because that's going to have your phone ringing for bad reasons, right? But it's very easy, and here's the thing. If you're going to start today. Start for December. Start for November. Whatever your last closing was, add that as your number one. You know what I mean? And know that that's going to be, now, who's not spreadsheet people? Be honest with me. It's okay. Okay. I'm not either. I've gotten real good at it. But I had a roller cart. And I would bring out my little roller cart, and it had 12 files in it. And every single time I would close, I would write their name, Mary Sue and John, 1234 Main Street, and I would put closed 350 Maria agent. And I would file it in December because they bought it in December, right? And then every month I grabbed my little folder, and that's who I knew we were working on. That's how I started. And now I have a Google spreadsheet, or Google Drive. But don't overthink. Like, that's what I would tell you. Don't overthink it. Start where you are. Do just this year's. Don't go back all the years, right? Because you've got a lot to catch up on. So start where you are and be proud of it is what I would say. Any questions about, the holiday or texts that we send? You can pick any 3. I usually don't do the big ones. I usually pick things like St. Patty's Day, Easter, Thanksgiving, or, thankfulness during the, I don't always pick the ones that they're not going to notice my message coming in because they're busy. Now, if they're a sweet little person who doesn't have a lot of family, and I know that, yes, I do still love on the people who I know who need it that time of year. So. Mm-hmm. Every time, honey. I wish I had my computer. It's in the car.
So you put it in the Google Drive, like the link to it?
Mm-hmm.
So
you copy the link, your hyperlink, and every time you click on the hyperlink, honey, you can just go. Listen, tell Wesley to copy my Google format, and you can all have it. I don't know how to do that, but he does because he deleted and moved some stuff. So Wesley can give you that. I don't care because all of us are going to win together. Yeah, you save the one link and it updates it every time. It's easy.
And you do that just on their anniversary of their closing?
Yep, whenever you want to do it. Like if you're behind by 25 years, like me, Penny, Patty, we're all behind. What we're going to do is we're going to then start where you are. But if you can do this year, like let's say you closed however many houses this year, you can start from this year. That's your foundation. And then you can go back because you feel like you're doing good, but start where you are. You don't have to get it perfect.
But do you end up doing for the whole database? Because I have seen that, but it seems like maybe it's the one that Penny was watching. Like it's not. It didn't say anything about the people you just closed. It was
Right.
just your whole database in general.
The DTD2. Yeah, but here's what I would say. And a lot of those people may only have 100 people in their database. So I would say it's relative to who you are and how big your database is. If you only have 50 people and you can do them all, do them all. But if you have 20,000 people in your database, now one thing that I can say is we've gotten better at cleaning it up, and the way we do that is our DTD2. Who follows that system? Yes. Okay, Penny, you know better. I'm going to throw this at you. You are on there every day too. So the way you clean up for that would be to follow a system. Whatever that system is, your DTD2 is the best system I've found to do it. And so then anybody who populates, you do that one today, right? Or you do it by the month, whatever your brain says makes sense. Mine is like a crackhead. Mine's like running around in circles, so you don't want to follow mine all the time. I'm just telling you. Okay, mailed items, one of them is our equity analysis. One of them is a Christmas card or a calendar. For budget purposes, we break those up. Each month we're mailing someone in our database something, right? Sometimes it's a Thanksgiving card, sometimes it's an Easter card, sometimes it's a birthday card if we know their birthday, but we mail them 2 things a year. That's it, but it can be any 2 things you want to mail them. Lottery tickets, I don't. On St. Patty's Day, a piece of candy, one of the chocolate coins, because it's not about the gift of what we're sending them, it's just about the action of, Maria, she mailed us something.
Are you mailing the monthly newsletters, or you?
So I do mail monthly newsletters to the neighborhoods that I farm.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't mail it to my whole database. But you could if you want to. I think, you absolutely could. And then your calls to your database, 2 a year. That's all I do. So any questions here? And this is a copy of like our Cherokee market update. It tells like the average days on the market, the houses sold that month, how many new listings came. And I have this template in Canva. If anybody wants it, you're welcome to it. And then that's just a sample newsletter. So Any questions? And then this is one of our blogs, so you can see. Any questions? Okay, so here's some scripts to your database, and then I am going to move on in just a minute. But here's some sample scripts. If you're like, oh, I want to talk to people, but I don't know what to say. These probably suck, so you could change it, but this is what I send, okay? I mean, the thing is don't overthink it. Just do you, boo. The point is that I get it wrong a lot, and people still buy and sell houses with me. That's the beautiful thing, right? So this one is, I actually took from Tulio Penna, and it was, could you finish the following sentence for me? If you could sell your home for blank, I would list my home this spring. I can't wait to hear your answer. We have listed houses from that. Now, you could say this winter instead of spring if you wanted to send it now. You can change it any way you want. Any way you want. That we do send that once a year, though. But you could send it every month. Oh, gosh, I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, so then here's another one. Just, hey there, the spring market's heating up. We're opportunities with interest rates taking a dip. It's the perfect time to revisit your home. Let's catch up and explore your options. Clearly, this is one that somebody I didn't know is who I would send this to. Okay? And then here's some text. See, I'm telling you, I send the craziest text, and they still respond. Hey girls, Friday's the day we celebrate the strong women. This was for Women's International Day. And then it just makes me happy. The thing that I love is that they do respond. And so however crazy you think the text sounds, it doesn't matter. It gets their attention. They know you're not a robot. And misspell it, leave punctuation off. See, I can't even say punctuation. So does that help you with touching your punctuation? I'm going to use it now. Yeah. Okay, so I do not mass text. I used to mass text, and I wouldn't always see it, and then I wouldn't respond. And so I would rather send whatever your number is, 50 a day, text messages that actually are more purposeful than 5,000 in one day. That just worked better for me. That's just my opinion. So,
Can I piggyback that? If you
Yeah.
do the mass texting, because this has been a sticking point for me, because in my schedule, I do have to do a whole thing, or I will not get to it.
right.
What are y'all using? Because we've gone round and round with Twilio versus Reach, and I'm still.
I did Reach, and it was terrible. I got turned in for spam.
And there was, the Twilio was harder for me because, so what I'm doing is I am sending them throughout, like Reach will let me send it throughout the day. So I batched them small batches. Twilio I had to go through command, and so then I was like, I have to be somewhere where I'm planning to send it through command, and it can't just be, oh, I'm in my car and realize that I need to send this because I'm behind. So, okay, well, that's one more comment. I'll ask him again.
Yeah. And that's very smart, Penny. That was one of the things that I had was think about who you're texting. Is it an internet lead? Is it a for sale by owner? Is it a friend and family, right? And the biggest piece of advice I could give you today is start somewhere and get in a system for what works for you. But just realize that, we as agents count our conversations. Our conversations are what are going to lead us to an appointment. Would everybody agree with that? But a lot of times we get caught up in the busy of this industry. Does anybody else feel that way? And we can look real busy, and none of that busy is actually leading us in the right direction. So what I have found is if your goal is to prospect, then you need a separate time to love on your database for people to just say, hey, how are you? Been thinking about you. The thing that prospects is you're actively asking or having a conversation about business. That's my 2 cents. And if you do that every day, even if it's 5 people, 10 people, 25 people. My number has been 25 since I started. That's how I talk to in a day. Yours can be 5. It doesn't have to be 10,000 a day, but you've got to be asking the right questions. So you need to know who you're calling for what purpose. And then loving on your database is more of like a long-term farm. Not everybody that you're loving on is going to need real estate business, right? And so it may take longer, but if you need immediate business, go to the prospecting mode.
In mold, I really love the way they laid out Lovin in this gold.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday and Tuesday we're prospecting because it says that you have the highest energy at the beginning of the week, so you should do the hardest thing at the beginning. So Monday and Tuesday we're prospecting. Wednesday we're for warm leads.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday was for your database, and then Friday, because you're typically at the end of your energy at the end of the week, and then Friday was a flex day. So either you follow up on things that you didn't get done, or you have a free day.
That's right.
And I love that, and so we've been incorporating that.
Well, and I love that because the fortune is in the follow-up, yes, but the fortune's in the consistent follow-up. So you've got to find what allows you to be consistent, right? Because all of us are at different points in our life. So, but I did love this bold. I felt like because of him, I started doing more social media interactions with DMs. I would tell those kids, oh, sorry, honey.
Are we gonna get a copy of this?
You are, honey. I'm about to give that to y'all. Look, no, you got it all.
Do you get, when you text somebody, do you sometimes get where they say stop? And,
Yeah.
It just kind of, it kind of is like a bullet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like,
Well, you know what,
be
though?
rude, you know?
That is one no closer to a yes. So you have to, it's all in our mindset. They don't need us today. And I usually respond with something that says, oh, I will gladly stop. I'm not a robot, smiley face. Have a great day. You know, because I want them to know that I'm not a robot.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, catch you tomorrow.
Yeah, literally. I had people hang up on me, and I would call them the next day and set an appointment when I was actively doing for sub owners and expireds. Yeah, I'm persistently polite, and they eventually will love me. That's what I tell myself anyways. Okay, so now you've got the listing. Now what? This is what most of you might be interested in. So I created this back in 2008 or 9 when I had so many listings I didn't know what to do. All of them were $15,000 to $20,000, so I was still broke. And we made $25 off of each closing. Do you remember that, Lisa? Yeah, those were the good old days. But what I did is I needed a plan because I am like see monkey, hear monkey, see monkey do, or whatever that saying is. If I have something in front of me, I'm a checklister. I like to mark it off my list. So I'm going to let Robert pass these out to everybody. This is my 12-week plan. Now, it's a little bit different. It's the same but different from where we were in 2007 and 8. I take it weekly, and what we do is we have our listing addresses up at the top of this sheet, depending on where they're at. Are they week 1? Are they week 7? You know, wherever they are. So we keep an active rolling spreadsheet with our listings up at the top, and then my assistant every Friday or Saturday, because she works on Saturdays, she has it set up for our Monday morning meeting. So people who run teams, that might be helpful for. But on week 1, and then we even have the pre-list. So, and like I said, I kind of am like on crack. That's why I don't teach. I'm a great substitute teacher. But we have some bonus marketing that's down at the bottom. You got to get your visual readers out. But here's what I'm about to give you, which I've never given away before. But because we're family, I'm going to give it to you. Robert, get back up, honey. Johnny Cash, we need you one more time. Okay. Walk the line. This is your breakdown for, this is what we made the process for my admin to be able to do. So you'll see week 1, this is in layman's terms. This is what I love because it's quick and I see address, I pick one of the things. So basically what I do, I decided a long time ago, you know, right now our sellers know if we wing it. Would you guys agree? Okay, so if you come with a plan in mind, their nerves stay a lot more at bay of like they're, oh my gosh, the house hadn't sold in 12 hours. What are we going to do? So it's kind of setting forth that expectation for them. It's coming up with a plan. Now, the biggest thing I want you to know is I do not do all of these things every single week. I pick one of them, sometimes two. And so what we do, like, so week one, we do MLS marketing, obviously.
You done with me?
For now, I'm going to let you sit down, and then I'll pop you back up.
I might have to get you over here in a minute.
You may choose to do circle prospecting. You may choose to go door knocking. You may choose to do an open house. You may choose to do a Facebook Live video. You may choose to do social media, something else. Or you may do a paid boost post. And paid boost can be for Google or Facebook or Instagram, whatever you are choosing to do, right? Now, you may say, this is what I came for? Well, I didn't say it was excellent. I just said I have a plan and I pick from it, right? It's probably, you guys probably do cooler things than I do, but I just make a list with it and I pick it. And you know what else I do? I tell my seller every single week because I'm like a habit person, right? So every single week we send out a text or a phone call to our seller and we tell them, this is what our plan is. And we've not had any sellers fire us during this transition of days on the market. I've not had any sellers fire me for the transition of the days on the market, okay? I've had a lot of people call me because they're firing their agent, which is terrible, and I always try to talk them out of it because I'm like, well, your agent is probably doing the exact same thing that we're doing, right? Like, and try to encourage them to go back to that agent. But the thing is if the seller doesn't hear us and doesn't know what we're doing, then they assume we're doing nothing. And we all work too hard to people to think we do nothing. So, and then on week 2, you'll see it's a little bit different. It's the weekly market update. We sometimes create a landing page at that point. We then will sometimes deliver a property book at that point. Because if it's a really hot property, it may sell in week 1. So that's why we wait till week 2 to deliver the property book, because it's all about how many touches is our seller going to get. And then there's also flyers that we can deliver at that point. Buyer matches in Sync, which is our database, which is actually now Brivity, it's not Sync. But targeted ads for migration states. Does anyone know what that is? Okay, so you can create it in Command and do a Facebook ad there, or you can do a Google post if you know which city people are most likely to move from. You can also use ChatGPT. So that's the other thing we're using right now for them to tell us which ones to use. The just listed postcards or the seller letters, one or the other. Agent prospecting or like a benchmark report. So the benchmark report is for sellers who are like really under the gun and very anxious. And maybe we felt like we priced it really aggressively, but we've only had one showing and no offers, and we're on week 2. What does that tell us? We probably didn't price it right. Or not that we didn't, the strategy of the market price didn't work. So we would do a bench report market report for that seller to say, okay, here's the new things that went, right? So, or here's the things that came on the market, here's the things that went pending, here's what we should do, you know, to get to your motivation, because your motivation says you have to be gone in 30 days, right? So this isn't for every seller that we're that aggressive up front, but it's for sellers who have like that pain that they need to get out very quickly. So that's the thing, is like it's not a one-size-fits-all.
On your just listed postcards, who are you sending those to?
We send them to the neighborhoods around, or usually I try not to send in the neighborhood if I just sent the seller letter. So let's say that I listed a ranch and I know that there's a neighborhood that has a lot of boomers that is in the same area or school district. I will send a just listed postcard to the boomers because most boomers are not on social media as much. So I try to strategically think, who do I think is going to buy this listing? At the beginning of every single listing, we're like, who's our buyer going to be? and we make notes, and it's in my listing file. And then we refer back to that. So we're like, okay, who are we marketing to on this one? Okay, it's a lake house, or ooh, it's an investor special. How are we going to find these people, right? So your just listed postcards would go to someone that you think, not in the neighborhood. I would say think of someone outside that might be something that would be a move up neighborhood opportunity. Because remember, we're hunting for more listings.
And when you say flyers, what flyers?
Just the property flyer, yeah. And what you could do is mail flyers to another neighborhood like that. So it's whatever it means to you. Like in each listing, would everybody agree that every listing's a little bit different? So it sometimes has things that we can do a little bit differently. What I hope this does for you, which is what it does for me and my team, is it purposefully makes us sit down on Monday and think, what can we do differently for that client? And here's the options that we normally would pick from. Does that make sense? And how do we, it just is, door knocking or Facebook Live video, but how do we actually tailor that to our seller? How do we, go and say, hey, we did reverse prospecting, but I'm also going to call the agent. So remember, think of, not just sending it out in FMLS for reverse prospecting, but calling the agents who you see on that portal and saying, hey, do you have a buyer? Or, an agent who's been very active in that, right? It really depends on your seller and how involved in communication they are needing to be. But here's what I'll tell you. Our rule of thumb is if our seller calls us first, we waited too long. And that's for anything, right? If they call us first, we waited too long. So that would be my advice. Over-communicate. Be a little quicker on the draw, because here's the thing. They're like, well, gosh, there's nothing for me to call them about because they're always giving us stuff. So generally it's text or phone call, and it depends on who they are. But what we do when we list a property, we start a group chat with myself, our admin, and then whoever the other listing agent is on there. So there's usually at least 3 people, sometimes 4. And we use that chat for everything. We name it that in our phone. Like, any Android users here? Oh, girl, you blow up and ruin the chats. So I don't know how you do it. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, honey.
Phone takes the best pictures.
Yes, it does. So like this one, you can see it. We have it 422 Northampton Trail. And we actually closed that, but we're still in communication, wishing them stuff. But so we run the plan on Monday at our marketing meeting, and then Ada may say, she may drop in the chat. So she knows, based off of this plan, here's the weekly marketing update, and here's the script that she's going to use to text the seller. So it's in there. Or, if it's Julie, so we just kind of know up front, or we decide on Monday. Now, in a perfect world, we get to send that out on Monday, too. Mondays.
I'm quitting. You need for me to hand out
Yeah,
anything else?
I might need you to pick up. Could you go get my car washed?
Sure.
Thank you, Robert. He
At
is the
your
best.
service, ma'am.
You're
At
so
your
sweet.
service. See you later.
Bye.
You need for me to do anything?
No, get out of here. Yeah, we're good. Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care, y'all.
What I would say is we decide that up front. Now, if you're an individual agent, it's easy. It's you or your virtual assistant, right? But what I have found is just knowing the scripts helps a lot. And the other thing that I do is I print out my listing, and we keep it in our file. And then I will be like, God, have you ever just had a listing that you're like, why is no one buying this? It's great. It's a great deal. Anybody right now? Just me? Okay, no. So I will take it and I will give it to the most brutally honest agents on my team, which are Sherry and Julie. and they will nitpick me to death. And I'm like, okay, be a little nicer. I mean, everything doesn't suck. You know, Sherry's like, yes, it did, and that's why I'm not a listing agent. Me, you know. But what it does is it gets another set of eyeballs on it, right? So then we switch things up. And if you don't have someone else on your team, have a buddy. Switch those listings up. Sit down, mark it up. Like, what did we miss? Did we miss the school district? Did I miss to put that it had a basement? We saw someone do this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, their house hadn't sold because you didn't tell us it had a basement, buddy. You know, so it's amazing how when we're inputting listings, sometimes we overlook stuff. So really, if you've got one of those listings on week 2 that you're going, why is no one seeing this? Did you get your school districts right? That's usually the biggest thing we get wrong quickly, right? Or what else can you do differently? Exactly. Yeah.
And no photos of it either? That's shocking.
No.
That's a surprise.
I know the listing agent didn't know because it was like kind of at the top of the hill and it had like bushes around it. So I mean, from like the house you couldn't see it. But then like we were like, what's behind there? And we're like, it's a pretty decent pool for the price point.
Well, and see, that is.
So that's
So that's why I'm saying we've all made those mistakes where we're like, okay, what did we miss?
Well, and you know what, Penny, maybe they did it on purpose because they don't want that smaller buyer pool.
Ah.
No pun intended, but you know what I'm saying?
That's
'Cause
true.
It does make it a smaller buyer pool for a pool, because I'm working with somebody right now, she's like, I don't want that maintenance, got it.
Yeah, that could be.
So
That's true.
possible. Yeah.
I've strategically left stuff out of a listing before, but not a pool. But I mean, I think there could definitely be. But the important thing is just kind of having a roadmap and a plan. Most of our stuff, most of these are pretty self-explanatory, except for the target market and then the like the MLS refresh on sync. I know a lot of people say if you don't do a price reduction of at least 5%, you're wasting your time. I still disagree. I think a $1 price change, $100, and swapping out your pictures is still effectively working for us. So when we put in here an MLS refresh, that's our plan. And that's where we say, hey, listen, we're not asking for a 5% price reduction. We're not asking for, you know, something crazy. We're really just asking for $1 so that it goes back out as a brand new listing, and hopefully the algorithm will love us this time. Something like that.
that Twilight open house.
Mhm.
Does that work for you?
It does. Well, it depends on where it is. So we've done like sips and sunsets at places that are maybe a little more luxury or in a neighborhood. We also have done like popsicle parties for the kids in a neighborhood out in the driveway. So, I mean, we've had a lot of luck with different style open houses, and some of them in the evenings. So I think, you know, it's worth a shot. I would do at least one if the neighbors, if you think it would be somewhere that gets, you know, each one's kind of different. And then the biggest thing, you know, on here, it's at week 6 we kind of just rotate, but we start getting more aggressive on price reductions, or at least we do. And then we start having conversations about local days on the market report. So do we think they're still on track, or has the market really changed a lot? Or, you know, and that's where you're the market expert. So then you get to decide what you think. And then sometimes you're like, I just don't know. Just call somebody, you know what I mean? Like ask somebody who has been in the business a little bit longer, or someone who maybe has a listing nearby, what they think about it. Hey, are you getting any traffic on yours? Okay, you're getting a lot of traffic, so then it's just me, right? Or no, I'm not getting any showings either, so it's not just you, right? And it doesn't matter what the market is, it's a price war and a beauty contest, right? And you've got to outshine it or outprice it right now for sure. So those are some of the other questions that we get sometimes are like your CMA email updates. Now, what I will tell you is I never ask for a large price reduction when it's not in person or on the phone. So I will go to their house, usually about halfway, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and I'll sit down with them again, and I will say something. or I will have a phone call or a Zoom with them because I want to be able to read their temperament. I want to know, hey, has plans changed for you? Like, is there, is your motivation? Because it's our marketing or pricing is really a strategy about the market, right? It's not really anything to do with the value of the home. It's what the strategy of the market and their motivation, when they need to be there. So we have to be revisiting their motivation a lot more in this market from what I have found. So, okay, are they hanging with us? Are they in it for the long haul? Or are they feeling the pressure and we need to be more aggressive? I'm really bad to not move quick enough and pivot quick enough for my sellers because I'm emotionally vested in them usually. I get too far deep and I'm like, oh, I want to get them every dollar we can. And sometimes we just have to rip that Band-Aid off sooner. And, Julie is the best at that. Like, she's all analytical, no emotion. That's not true, but she's very sweet. But she takes all that out, and she does a much better job pricing right now than me because I worry about what you need versus here's what it's going to get for you sometimes.
I think, I'll speak personally that when you do work with somebody else, that you guys feed off one another or you're opposite of one another because, I'm the type that in so many words would say, look, you want to move by January 15th or not?
Right.
I need somebody on the other side to sugarcoat that.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? You're probably going to win in this market a little bit more than someone who, you know what I mean, like me, who's going to probably hang on too long because the market's telling me different things. And I think that's the thing is I'm a numbers person, and so if the numbers aren't clear, then I always think there's hope. You know what I mean? So that's kind of, I'm like, is you're going a downward market. Correct. You're behind. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing is way back when we were truly in a declining market. But right now where we are, we're not a declining market. We're kind of like, but some neighborhoods are. So it's kind of just hit or miss right now where I'm finding some are in a bigger decline than others. And I don't know if you agree with that, but like that's, it just, I wish I did. I went to a listing yesterday, a listing appointment, and I was like, oh my gosh, they just bought it for $1,050,000. It's in Alpharetta, and they've done all this work. And I was like, it's $1,075,000 even after all this work that you've put in. And she said, honestly, that's what I thought it would be. Let's do it. I'm like, wow, you took it so much better than I would. We've lost money. Right.
We put it in our own head that they're going to flip out.
100%.
As opposed to maybe their motivation is like, yeah, it sucks, but we're moving on.
It is. Their father-in-law is buying them the new, much nicer house, so they don't, I think, really care how much they make. I know. Me too, sister. Me too. I still put that on your resume.
I'm kind of screwed 20 years in, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's so funny.
I do have a question for those of you that haven't been in the market. With seasonality, I have one sitting. We started at 540. We were there for about 30 days, and we went to 524, like just under that. We've been there about a month. It is a very unique upstairs. I know that's part of it. But when I talked to them last night, I said, well, we could do like 515 or $499. They said they want to go straight to $499. I don't know. I'm kind of.
Do it, honey. Do it. And you know what you do?
I don't want them to. And here's why I'm asking though, because it's 2 weeks before Christmas. Would any price drop at all be a boost, and then do $499 after Christmas, or does?
And then you got 100. Yeah, and you know what I would do? I would take that advice, and then if she's still here after Christmas, I would withdraw it, pay the money, and put it back on as a brand new listing, just at $499.9. Yeah.
Explain to me the psychology, because I've heard it over and over and over again. Taking it off and relisting. It's psychological. I mean, what's the science behind it?
There's no market.
Well, days on the market, yes. But it also gives you a chance to refresh the pictures, but also the algorithm. Like Zillow suppresses us a lot of times, or like I have found, well, I have no proof, but that is my little, please don't sue me, Zillow. They have better attorneys than I do. Yeah, they are. They don't know about me. They're busy. But I think I have seen where the algorithm, for whatever reason, it's just not sending it on some of the feeder websites. And sometimes a new day, new dollar, you know. That's just been my experience. And I think the sellers like to see, okay, we're throwing all our chips in. We're going to do all new descriptions. But don't waste your time. If you do that, change everything and do detailed descriptions under each photo, especially if it's a wonky floor plan. Take those extra steps and really be the marketer. Because we as real estate agents, we are the marketer, right? You've seen in the house, and if you're not sure, if you're like, I don't know who's going to buy this house. I don't know what this big room would do. Put it to ChatGPT. Now, I am not a ChatGPT fan completely. I love my bot, but I use it as a guided friend. I don't let it drive completely on its own. It's taking my brain and my thoughts and putting it in and updating it. But you can throw some things off that because there's something, or leave out the ugly pictures. If it's not helping you sell it, don't add the picture in there. Leave it off.
Okay, another question that I think I know the answer to, but we did not stage. We should have.
Virtual staging.
I virtual staged a couple of the major, the major rooms. Do I need to physically stage it?
I left all those slides off because for time purposes, but I am a huge believer in staging. Huge believer. It said, I read a report that, in fact, I screenshotted it this week. Let me just find it for you, honey, because I can't remember anything. It said, where was it?
Would she be better off saving that for go to 500, but
Right.
then
That's what I'm saying,
after
when I
the
relist.
holiday, maybe she can change that to virtual staging, and then it's like a whole new listing, you know what I mean?
Right, but I'm saying, even with what I virtual staged, I think what I'm asking is, do I have to physically stage it?
I mean, I will, if you give me the address, I'll pull it up and tell you. My thought is yes, and of course I'm not seeing this, but the staging, staged home benefit. I know, it was 10 to 15% more in the Atlanta market, home sales. But overall, on a national level, it says that it drops the days on the market, show a longer days on the market, around 60 days for non-staged and 20 days for staged homes. So it helps a higher return. The price per square foot for Atlanta, it said that it was $49 per square foot more for homes that were staged. And this was off of the NAR website.
That's part of my challenge.
I think, I don't know how much that costs to do, but I can't imagine it's that cheap.
Well,
Anywhere from 25 to 1,000. Oh, wow. 4,000. Are you doing your own now?
we do. We've always done our own. I did staging before HGTV. So, like from way back when, I've always done it. So it is our value proposition. I will tell you that the lady who works for me, she will do it, and it is a little cheaper. It's about $1,500 to $2,000, depending on the size of the house.
For how long? Is that per month?
No.
Okay.
No, we've been leaving them in there for longer, 3 months. So I'm not running a staging company because I don't have time, but if you do call me, I will happily try to connect you guys because I do own all our own furniture. Yeah.
It was the question of my sellers really wanted to have that output right then, and we couldn't really.
Yeah.
I couldn't have justified it. I should have.
Can I just say something too? I mean,
$2,500 out the gate to.
I don't do
Yeah.
as much business as you do, but I will say that I have taken some things out of their home and replaced them with small items that are, well, then that's even better. You would be so surprised at what a nice little wicker basket with some napkins in it on a countertop in a kitchen, or take away the hand towel, or you'd be surprised at the small not a lot of money to do
Yeah.
those little things, you know what I mean? You can start that way. Would you
What's
agree
your-
or would you disagree?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think every little bit helps, for sure. What's the address, Lottie?
It's 701 Elk Cove Court.
Does anybody else have a problem child that you want us to look at?
I do.
701 Elk.
Cove, C-O-V-E, Elk Cove Court.
What's
Kennesaw.
Kennesaw? Okay. What's your problem child?
I have 800 Crowview Court, Woodstock.
And you guys do a great job staging too. You don't put a lot
Yours?
of money into it.
Okay.
I mean, I've been to your open houses.
Yeah.
Couches in my basement.
Yeah, that's how I started. We started with,
We have a 10 by 20 storage.
yeah.
I could light up a house. It's like my husband, she was out of town. We had to collect all the lamps. And my husband's like, how many, we have a lamp store? How many?
And your beds too, I think she does like
Yeah.
a card table and she does like a card table and a nice
Oh, yeah.
comforter on it and a lot of pillows and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Boxes
Yeah.
and just cardboard boxes.
Yep.
and, Air mattresses and
Yep.
it's like a real bed.
If you're not staging your own stuff, though, the question is still like, at the end of the day, who then pays for that? And how do you have a conversation with your seller about that?
So you can do either way. You can, is it a value where you want to up the commission to cover it, right? So if you're at a 6% base or whatever your commission is, right? It's flexible. What's the right words to say? Negotiable. So negotiable up if they need you to pay for it up front. I do think it helps. And I think and maybe you offer different packages of your listing, you know, so if you're going to include it, if they're going to pay for it, you know, and then you could have something in your listing paperwork that says if they withdraw, then they have to pay you back that money up front. So, yes. Yeah. Yeah. 3 tiers. Yes.
I just hate that. I didn't think, I personally don't think it should be their job. They're hiring me to sell the dang house. That should be part of my marketing expenses. And I personally have a hard time making them pay for marketing expenses. It's just me.
But it's their greatest asset. And they need to, listen, who doesn't clean their vehicle and get it completely restored before they sell it? I mean, and it costs you what, $300-400 to have it completely revamped, right?
Yeah.
It is, you should not feel bad about that. They have to do that in order to get it ready. Right, I mean, that's just the beast, that's just the way it is.
Well-
Just like you tell them to clean it before they sell it. The people who don't wanna clean the house, it's like, well, then you're not invested. I mean,
Right.
You wanna make me pay to get the house cleaned? I mean, I have done that, but, you know, because some people are really.
Lonnie, I will say, and I'm not offering this as a suggestion, but I have heard Kathy D say this before, where she had it virtually staged and then printed large photos of it virtually staged and put them in the room so that they could at least, while they were there, have a better solution. But Kathy D said she has done that before.
Yeah. Well, and Lottie, if you want to text me, I'm happy to see if, you know, if you go down that path, we might be able to work something out so that, you know, maybe it's paid for at closing or something. So you can just let me know.
I have a question about, you talk about lowering price to sell. What about helping the buyer, buy down their interest rate? Is that something you can actually do, or is that a lender thing?
You can do it. The seller can offer a concession for anything they really want to, as long as the lender will allow it. But they, I haven't seen that as effective as like knowing that the property needs carpet and paint, right? A lot of people are like, oh, we'll give a concession. But people are visual, right? Like they have a hard time looking past some of those things, is what I would say.
Even sometimes investors have a hard time.
They do, or they want their return on their money. So if it's going to cost $5,000, the investor's going to want to say, I need $10,000 off. So I think, each to your own, but you could. Like, as far as new construction neighborhoods that you might be competing with, where, one neighborhood was offering a large, or like 2% interest, they were buying it down. There was no way for my seller to compete with that. So it was just, well, thank you guys so much. I hope everybody got some information out of it today.
So Renee, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Are there markers, like I've always heard, like you're looking for markers, like we're looking for 3 showings in the first week, second showings, like,
Oh, yeah,
what are the markers that you're looking for?
So for me, you need to have 2 to 3 showings per week, every week, and you're priced right, in my opinion. If you're not getting 2 to 3, and that does not include your open house. So if you're not getting 2 to 3 showings every week, even in this market, then you are overpriced or there's something wrong. It depends on the season for like holidays, or it depends on, yeah, I mean it's all wonky at times, but I think it just depends on the situation, the house. Uh-huh. It is. Well, and that's how people are right now, because it's the temperament of the buyers and the temperament of the sellers. Are they really motivated? And or are the buyers, just looky-loos? You know what I mean? So there's a lot. I actually heard Jared James. I don't know if you guys follow him or not, but he is a great influencer, and he said something. He said it's the first time in his history, and he's like 25 years in, that he hasn't seen a clear direction on whether it's a buyer market or a seller market. And I'm like, I feel the same way.
You said Jared James?
Jared James.
Thank you.
What'd you say, honey? Yes. Yeah. And it is. It's price point. I know. And I think that's why we all need each other. And, we need to, like, hey, what are you seeing? Because what you're seeing in your area may be different, even though I'm only 15 minutes away, right? And just continue the conversation and reach out. Like, literally, you guys are welcome to call me, text me, whatever, anytime. Michael will tell you, if you ask me to hold you accountable, I will hold you accountable. Yes, he was in my bold group, and so we were like, hey, if you want me to wake up every day and call you out on something, I'm happy. I'm your girl. If but I want to see you guys win. So how can I help you win more listings? If you maybe as a newer agent haven't been on a listing appointment, I'm happy to go with you. You guys, we'll go ride solo. We'll get you the listing. You know what I mean? Like, we're good. You just let me know how I can help.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so